Welcome back to part 2. We're on page 4. We've got some pre-cuts. Our first one is 5.5 by 8.25. We called it a side pocket. What we did was we laid this on our scoring board. We are 5.5 across and we scored at a half. We then turned it. We are now 8.25 across, scored at a half, and 7.75. Then what we had was 3 pieces we cut, and we said only label one of them, but it was 4.25 by 5 7/8, and we call this a waterfall. On each one of these, we laid these, so we are 5 7/8 across, and we just scored at a 1/2 inch. In your paper pack, you will find this print, and on the back, it is this. So we're going to turn it completely upside down. Sorry, there's a glare in here. Wow. Chairs up here, measure over 7 3/8 and cut. Once you did that, this is what you should have. We're going to situate it to where the flowers are down here. This is here, measure over 7.25 and cut. Now our next 2 pages are really loaded, and that's where we're really going to be getting into our second pack, just so you know. So if you're looking at this and we're already here on page 4 and you're thinking, maybe I could have done this with one paper pack, probably not. You'll see as we go forward. So this is our main page. Let's grab that side pocket. We're going to do like we have before. Down in the corners where the square lines meet and make the square, cut them out. We'll fold back and we will assemble this with our glue, just like we've done before. Okay, once you have your pocket assembled, your opening is right here, and we are going to bring this all the way over to the right of our decorative paper, matched up top and bottom. So let's get some glue on there and get it on down. In your reserves, you will find this piece. This piece on the back looks like this, and it is about 4 3/4 by about 7 3/8. So if we were looking at it like this, we're going to measure over 7.25 and cut. So just a small little piece came off, and we're going to glue this down, and we're just going to center this side to side. Okay, we have our 3 waterfalls, and all we're going to do right now is fold on that score line and use our tool to sharpen it up a bit. There is no magnets on this page, so it will settle down after we're done. The one that we wrote on is the one that we placed last. So I'm going to grab one here that has no writing on it, and I'm going to show you first. So what we'll end up doing is having the peak up, we'll put some glue, and then we're just going to place this down. So when I do place this, I am going to leave the same amount on each side. I'm going to place this to where it is about 1/8 inch from the bottom of my piece here. So about 1/8 inch from the bottom. Getting that on pretty straight, I think. There we go. I think that's good. And once I have it there, I'm just going to burnish, and then I'll fold that up and burnish again. Again, this is going to want to flop up on you, but it will settle down over time. We're going to grab our next one with no writing, and we're going to get glue on that. So this is really easy now how this goes. So here is the glue, here's my peak. I'm just going to rotate this and bring it until it matches up with the other one. I'm not laying it on the other one, it just goes right up next to it, as you can see. And it should line up with your other pieces there. Okay, last one has the writing on it. And if you accidentally put down the one with writing, it really isn't going to matter much, because we are going to be covering each one of these rather than just a strip at the bottom. So, and I'm just doing the same thing. putting it up next to it, bringing it down, make sure that it lines up, and then I burnish this way and burnish the other way. In your reserves, you will have this piece, and on the back it looks like this. We're going to measure over 4 inches and cut. Once you've done that, we're going to turn it this way. We're going to make a couple cuts here. The first cut we're going to do is we're going to measure over 3/4 and cut. All right, once you've done that, measure over 5 1/8 and cut. We'll measure over again 5 1/8 and cut. So that's going to give us 2 of these pieces. Let's take this one for the top and just kind of lay it down, and that should fit your first one. And we're going to use the chair on the top there. So once you have that down, what we're going to do is we're going to flip that one, and then this one's going to lay on the bottom one right there. In your reserves, you will have this print. On the back, it is this. Looking at your piece like this, measure over 4 inches and cut. All right, we're going to make 2 cuts. Measure over 5 1/8 and cut. Measure over again 5 1/8 and cut. This is what you should have. This, we'll just flip that one over and pull this one up, and we're going to glue this one down right here. So that is what you should have so far. Let's do that one up. This one here, we're going to glue right up here. Next, you will find this in your reserves. Measure over 4 inches and cut. Once you've done that, turn it, measure over 5 1/8 and cut. Flip it over. We're going to glue that down right there. Let's flip that. In your paper pack, you will have this print. On the back, it is this. Measure over 4 inches and cut. Once you've done that, turn it, measure over 5 1/8 and cut. Flip it over. Let's place that right there. All right, we're going to fill in some of these, the little blacks in between there. And I want to start down here. In your reserves, you should have this piece. On the back, it's this. I think you can see that. All right, I'm just going to flip it over to this side. You can kind of see that. Measure over 4 1/4 and cut. So we have this little piece here. We're going to just glue that right over the black without getting on the score line. All right, we're going to get for these. Now these are going to be a little bit different size. We're going to have them cut at 4 inches instead of that. All right, grab this back out of your reserves. We've just cut on it. So what we're going to do is we have to make this a little narrower. So measure over 3/8 and cut. So once you've done that, we'll turn it, measure over 4 inches and cut. We're going to be using some of these scraps. So this should fit right in between without interfering now with your little score lines. We're going to glue that down. We're going to get after some more scraps too. So just kind of line it up with your paper here and here. Okay, we got one more to go. We have this piece here. And I'm going to turn it over so you can kind of look, so you can see what I've got going here. I'm not sure if that's too far away for you to see, but okay, we're going to measure over 3/8 and cut. All right, so once you've done that, we're going to look at it like this, measure over 4 inches and cut. And this piece should fit in there, and I'm going to use the lighter to separate the two. Or if you'd like, you can use that. I'm going to use the lighter side up. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over. We're going to put score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle, one on either side, and I will meet you at the book because we're going to place it. All right, I've got the score tape backing off. And And I am going to shoot some glue down here really quick. There we go. We're going to do the same thing we've done on the previous pages. We're going to come in 1/8 inch from the side. I'm going to be placing some stickles, and I'm going to outline the chair, maybe do some little detail work over here, and I'll show you mine when I'm done. I just got done placing all my stickles, and I just went around and added some there for some interest. Once this dries, I will go ahead and move on to page 5. Page 5, here we go. So we're going to review our pre-cuts. There's several. So the first thing that we cut were 2 pieces that were 5 1/8 by 7 1/4. We called these inner fold out. On each one of these, what you did was lay this on your scoring board. So you were 5 1/8 across. You scored it at 1/2 and 5/8. We cut a 7 by 7 1/4. We called it a left fold out. So what we did was we laid this on our scoring board. So we are 7 inches across. We scored at 1/2 and 3/4. There was just one of these. Our last pieces, there are 2 of them, and one we labeled top flip, one we labeled bottom flip. They are both 5 7/8 by 6 1/2. And what we did on each one of these is we laid it so we are 6 1/2 across. We scored at 1/2 and 13/16. So I had to make a pencil mark and then line it up with a notch for that. In your reserves, you will find this print, and on the back it is blue. So the first thing I want to do is turn it. The basket's over here. Measure over 7 1/4 and cut. Once you've done that, turn it completely upside down. Basket here. Measure over 7 3/8 and cut. So we're going to be using this as our main decorative page. The first pre-cuts that we want to get is those inner fold outs. And we're going to fold on those score lines. So just take your time. It's kind of hard when you're working with heavier paper and such a little spacing in between those score lines. So we're going to have a hinge off to the right, and then of course hinge off to the left. Okay, so here is our hinge off to the right. You have 2 score lines. On the outside score line here, the outside one, we're going to pinch and crease. You will still be able to see your other score line. We are just going to hook that right on back behind our sheet. Make sure it's in there good. Pinch, hold it, and let's glue down that flap. All right, let's grab the other one, and we're going to have a hinge off to the left on the outside score line. Pinch and crease, and we'll hook that one back behind. It should all line up for you. If you feel it slip, realign. This page is a really good one for those of you that like to just place pictures and not have pockets or anything. This page is going to give us a lot of places. Okay, so once you've done that, do check to make sure there is no glue seeping out. And we're going to push back against that other score line. I'm going to use my tool, and then I'm going to press in until it feels like it's flat, and that will give me some spacing in there. I think you could see that. And we'll do the same for this one. We're now going to grab our left fold out, and we're going to fold on those score lines. We're going to get these all on here, and then we'll start laying our paper. Okay, so for this one, what you're going to want to do is just kind of, what you can do is just kind of make it so it has that spacing. Now you can do this any way that's comfortable for you, but I'm just going to slide that right back behind there. And I know where that should be. I'm going to open it up, and that score line should be straight. So over here on that flap, we're going to get that on there. And we're just going to bring it over. And I'm going to use my fingers. Sometimes it's easier just to make sure that we stay flat over there. And then what I can do is to make sure I got it really good, because it's kind of hard with that spacing, is I'm going to push my hand down, make sure it doesn't go anywhere, and then I'm going to check that score line that I can see and if it's straight. And if I can just open it up and burnish from this side. And that will help a lot. So it should come over, and now you look like this. Okay, we're going to grab our top and bottom flip. We're going to do the same thing here. And this is even more spacing, so we'll have to take our time with getting these on. Okay, I'm going to start with the bottom flip here. And I'm going to get it maneuvered, pushed in so it has that little thing. I'm going to slide it up underneath, and I'm going to try and center this side to side as best I can. Okay. So you're going to have a big gap, but if you open it up there, you should be able to see that inside score line barely. We're going to get this flap going and try to get it even. You can see that score line there. And sometimes this is just easier. So I'm pinching it over here, making sure that this is flat. And once I do that, put my hand down, make sure the score line's straight, and then I'm going to burnish from the inside. So this is something I haven't really taught before, but this is one way with some of these thicker ones when you're going over other ones to make sure that it works. Another way to do this is, here is our top flip. So if you are looking at the back side, here is that. And you see this first little bottom score line. You can also add your glue now. And you'll want to pull this up so you can match it up. But we'll fold all these out. And you can just kind of slide it in there like you did before on how you did your first fold outs. And then you can just maneuver it. Make sure it's going to be. And now, alright, I'll open it. It's just another way of working around these fold outs. So now when you push back on that, you should come down even. If not, that magnet we place here will help. So we're just going to open that all up. And we have these inner ones, and we are going to work with the inner ones first. In your other paper pack, you will find this print. On the back is the musical notes. We're going to turn it this way. Basket is over here. We're going to measure over 7 inches and cut. The piece that we want is right here, and we're going to make 2 cuts. We're going to measure over 4 1/4 and cut. We'll measure over again 4 1/4 and cut. Now you have a choice. You can either lay this side and the musical notes kind of carry on, or you can use the blue on this side. It is completely up to you how you would like to do this. I think I'm just going to use this side up for in here. And we're just doing like we always do, kind of center it in there and staying away at least on these 1/16 or 1/8 from that score line here. Alright, so once you have that, we're just going to fold in. In your paper pack, you will have this print. On the back, it is this. Oh, I think we're going to turn it this way. Flowers up here, measure over 7 inches and cut. And once you've done that, we'll look at it like this. We'll measure over 4 1/4 and cut. We'll measure over 4 1/4 and cut. All right, flip it over. We're gonna glue that one down here, and we will glue that one down right here. So let's do that really quick. Once we get all our paper down, we're gonna come back and add some things. This is our left fold out. So what we're going to do is we're going to splice together 2 pieces, and this will work out good. So in your reserves, you will have this piece, and on the back, it is this. And then what you're going to have is this piece. Whoops. This piece right here. The basket and the musical notes. So we're going to turn this one upside down. The basket is here. And let's see here. We're going to have this one situated like this with the flowers down here. Now on both of these pieces, I want you to measure over 6 inches and cut. And once you've done that, we will have, let's see, which way does it go? It goes like this. We'll have that. And let's see, which way does this one go? Kind of hard. Like this. So you'll have to look for the little writing here to let you know which way you're going. Slide this one underneath, kind of center that in there. And I think this one will come over the top. Let me make sure I have this one right. Okay, slide this one underneath it because then we have the dark and dark. So this one goes down first, the basket. So we blend in a little better there. And I'll place this one first. It always, with musical notes, it just kind of, I really have to look to make sure I'm going the right way. And thankfully there's some little writing on there that helps. Okay, just coming over the top and lining up, and you'll have darker on this side. We're going to be placing a picture over that eventually, so it won't matter. But these two seem to blend in, these 2 pieces seem to blend in pretty good. All right, we're done with that one. We're now going to do the top side of the left fold out. We're going to use this sheet, and we have some cuts to do because I'd like to get that clock centered right on in there. I think that'll look good. So the first cut is measure over 2 3/4 and cut. Next, measure over 6 inches and cut. All right, so you should have this. We'll turn it this way. The one is over here, 12. Measure over 2 inches and cut. Now, just measure over 7 inches and cut. If you prefer to have that side, you can. And I am just going to burnish. Flip it over. It's easier. Okay, have that down. Let's grab a plus and a minus. And here is our bottom flip, and here is our top flip. Now, if you got yours on just a little bit off, this is where the magnets can kind of help you to shift it over. So, top flip, we're going to go up. I'll grab a plus. I'm going to come down about 1 inch from the top. I'll place the mate. Okay, so this is where I can kind of give it a little bend or so, and then I can line up my sides to make sure it is straight and press. And that will help kind of bring your pages over to where it should be. And then I'll shimmy that off, and we'll get our paper for the inside. So in your reserves, you will have this print. Right now, it is about 5 inches wide by 12 inches. In your reserves, you will also find this, and it is about 3/8 by 12 inches. So we're going to turn these sideways, and we're going to make 2 cuts. Measure over 5 3/8 and cut. Measure over again 5 3/8 and cut. Okay. So these are our pieces, and I wanted to use up some scraps, and definitely this one. Although this one is not as wide, I'll show you what we're going to do. So you can use this side or you can use the other side. Right now I have this piece, it's a little bit browner over here. If I was to place this and the brown being over there and giving myself 1/8 inch spacing, and just laying it down, trying to center that top and bottom, then taking one of my other strips, okay? And if you don't like this, you can use something else, but I am going to leave a spacing in between this and this. This is a great place to place a photograph, and it looks good. So this is what it was going to look like. And we'll do the same thing down below. So let's start with this one first, setting the large one. Like I said, if you don't like the little black spacing, what you'll want to do is wait till the end of the tutorial and grab another scrap piece and make a trim border. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay, let's do this one. We're going to do the same thing. Now, if you want to do something a little different, maybe you want this over here, and then over here you can. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. So either way you want to do it, but leaving 1/8 inch, I'll do it. I'll just show you what it looks like so you can decide. Get that excess glue up. So if you do it that way, there and there, or just have them both over there. So that looks good to me. Let's flip up for our bottom flip. In your paper pack, you will have this print, and on the back, it is this. We're going to turn it sideways, measure over 5 3/8 and cut. Once you've done that, measure over 5 5/8 and cut. And this is what you should get. Flip it over, center it in there, and let's glue that down. You can have this side up if you prefer. That looked really good too. Okay, I have that down. I'm going to close it up. Now this one. We're going to want this print. I want to use it because it's the back of the cover, but we're going to get this cut out so it's going to fit nicely right there and have this here. So we'll do the best we can with that. We're going to measure over 3 1/8 and cut. Measure over 5 5/8 and cut. And once you have that, turn it. Measure over 2 3/4 and cut. And measure over 5 3/8 and cut. So we'll see how we did here. Just center that right there, and I think it'll look really good. And we get use out of this front cover for sure. I hope you're enjoying the tutorial. They're kind of fun to do together. So this is what we should have so far. Let's open that up. On our cut apart sheet, I think I would like to get a few things out, and we can make little tucks. So you see these 3 gifts? Let's cut those out. And I'm going to disconnect for sure. Oh, I have a little pine cone. I'll just cut that out too. So let's start here. Cut out and around each present and the pine cone. Alrighty, I have all of mine kind of cut out here. I'm going to grab a scratch piece of cardstock. And I'm just going to lay these out to kind of show you what I'm thinking. So the biggest gift right here. This one, just a little bit of the side overlapping there. The blue one right here. And maybe the pine cone. Slide it back behind the blue gift. So I'm going to bring this up, and this is how I'm going to attempt to glue this down. So let's do that really quick. Okay, I have mine glued down. Now I'm just going to cut out and around this, leaving about a 1/16 of black or so. And we're just going to create a little tuck on our page. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But I just want to add a little something. Okay, I have mine. And I'm just going to place a little bit of glue back behind the pine cone and down right at the tip. So you can still slide in a photograph back behind. And it doesn't interfere with anything. So just a little bit. So looking at it like this, I'm just going to rotate it. I'm going to put a couple dots here. And then down at that tip, just a dot. And you don't even have to do the tip if you don't, the bottom of the present if you don't want to. If you think you're going to have a picture that's going to mostly fill, just do the side of the pine cone. And then that way you can still slide photograph back behind. You know, because this is a pretty good size photograph I have here. That'd look cute. So we're just going to add little by little some elements. And up here, I am going to grab, to do the same thing, this piece right here. So now all my pieces are kind of coming apart. I'm after this one, and I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to cut out and around it, glue it down to some scrap cardstock and cut out and around that. And then I'll show you how we'll place it. So here is mine. Nothing special on that. I'm just going to glue this down right like this, but I'm only going to be, here is the magnet up here. I am only going to be getting the bottom part, just a little. Not a big thick line. Because remember, this is a tuck and I want to be able to still get my photograph back behind it. Alright, let's open that up. Right here. In the back of your other paper pack, we are going to be getting after the Christmas tree. So I'm going to get that on out. I love the cut aparts in this. A lot of variety. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut out and around. Then I'm going to glue it down to some black cardstock and cut out and around that. Now this is optional. If you want to wait to see what I'm doing with this, you can. So here is mine. Whoops, it kind of fell. And all I'm going to do is kind of situate that. And I'm going to do a line right down there. Sissy. Wrap paper. So there's that. Still get a photograph tucked back behind. Oh, that would be so cute. Like my grandkids at Christmas. All I have handy is this in here. And these I am just going to leave alone. And there is our page 5. Lots of good stuff. Score tape around the outside like a picture frame. One down the middle, one on each side. Squirt your little bit of glue. And I will meet you at the book. Right, page 5. Now on this one we're going to do a little different. Because we have so many different foldouts over here, I think what I want to do is bring the side of this even with the side of your black paper. And when you do that, you will notice that there isn't a 1/4 inch left from all the foldouts because it's so thick. Stickles time. I am going to put some stickles over the lettering and around here and probably a little down here. I'll show you. I have my stickles on there and I think you can see I just kind of went around it and the lettering and some down here, and I did get my little snowflakes. As soon as that dries, we are moving on to page 6, our final page. We're on our last page. We have a couple pre-cuts. First one is a 7 by 7 1/4, and what we did was we laid this on our scoring board. We are 7 inches across. We scored at 1/2 and 11/16. Oh, that glares back. Next, a 4x7 pocket. We laid this on our scoring board. We are 4 inches across. We scored at 1/2. We then turned it. We are now 7 inches across. We scored at 1/2 and 6.5. In your paper pack, you will have this print, and on the back, it's the musical notes. We're going to turn it this way. The bird is over here. Measure over 7 1/4 and cut. Once you've done that, measure over 7 3/8 and cut. This is what you should have. We'll flip it on over. Let's grab our 7x7 1/4 fold out, and we're going to fold on those score lines there. And then we're going to attach it. All right, our hinge is off to the right there. And on the outside score line here, we're going to pinch and crease. And we're just going to hook that right on back behind and glue down our flap. And we'll inspect, make sure there's no glue in there. Pull back on the other one. Push in until we are straight with our page and we have that spacing. Now the first thing I would like us to do here is work on the inside here. And there is something I wanted to do. Okay, in your paper pack you will have this. On the back it is the trees. Measure over 6 inches and cut. Now the piece that we want is this. I'm going to give you a measurement. So turn it this way, measure over 7 1/4 and cut. The top of our tree kind of gets cut off. We are going to cut out and around this. We're going to leave this alone. We're just going to come in from where this, let me get that out of the glare. Leave this part alone. We're going to come in from this side and cut out and around until we get here and then come over. And I'll show you what mine looks like. You don't have to get real detailed on this. I'm just kind of weaving around because this would be way too hard to cut to go detail by detail. So I'm going to bring this up. So that's it. Move this out of the way. I'm going to grab a piece of black cardstock, and what I'm going to do is glue this down, leaving about a 1/16 inch of black bottom side, and then I'm going to do the cut out and around. We're going to make this into a nice pretty tuck. I'll show you what mine looks like when I'm done. So here's mine. Nothing spectacular, just a little bit of cutting. Okay, what we are going to do here is we are going to apply glue to the side and underneath here. We are going to leave that open. So, if I'm looking at it, rotate it, it's down this side and across the bottom. And our fold out should be over here, and we just want to go to the side of our decorative paper. We don't want to get into the scoring area for sure. And we leave that open. Now, this is in your reserves. And what we're going to do on the back, it's the trees. So I think what we're going to do is just turn it this way. We're going to measure over 7 inches and cut. Okay, flip it over to where we can see the trees. And we're going to verify that that fits, and it should. We are going to glue that down. And then we're going to get something so that we can get the other side done and get the magnet placed. Okay, we're going to fold that over. In your paper pack, you will have this print. I've been holding it aside so we didn't use it, but I do like the background here. Measure over 6 inches and cut. Once you have that, turn it, measure over 7 inches and cut. And if we place it right there in the center, that will look good. Okay, let's cut out the squares on our pocket. fold and glue down our flaps. Okay, got our pocket done, and our opening is this way. We're going to place it there. In your reserves, you should have this piece on the back. It is this. This is 6 inches wide. We're going to turn it this way, so it's looking like that. Measure over 3 3/8 and cut. All right, let's apply glue. If you would like to have this side up, you can. I'm going to have a little more color with the trees. We're going to cut a piece of our lace to fit across. If you're using lace, if not, don't worry about it. It'll look good by the time we're done. In your reserves, you will have this piece. And just to the right of this, go ahead and cut that. We're going to cut out and around this. And then we're going to mount it to some black cardstock. And we'll cut out around that too. Alright, so this is what mine looks like. I am not good when it comes to cutting out circles and all that. So we are going to mount this right about here. So you're going to want to make sure that this doesn't go over the side, but we're going to put this right here. I am going to use the fabric tack. So when I'm placing this, I'm just going to bring it up to where it's somewhere in the center there, and making sure that there's no glue under here. So if you want to go like that, kind of get it where it should be. Over there. Okay, plus and a minus. And I'm going to stick it right here. And with this, what you want to do is close it, flip it over, and let that find the mate. And you'll shoot some glue underneath that. And we are not quite done yet. I want to do some layering here, so a little bit anyway. Okay, right here. You see there's a gift and there's this. Let's cut out and around this. So here this is, and I did not back this with anything. I don't think I have to. I am just going to glue that right on down, and this right here gets glued onto this and then just straight down. Yeah, I'm not going to back this. I don't think I need to. All right, let's get this in the book. And that should lift off. Now over here though, all right, over here on that magnet, what we can do is cover that up with something. So whatever you want to fit over there, I think I'm going to go with this little gift right here. And I'm not going to back it. I'll just slide that halfway back behind if I can. If you can't, don't worry about it, just overlap. There we go. So let's go ahead and get this in our book and get some stickles on. And don't forget to take off your little backing there. We're just going to go all the way around like a picture frame, one down the middle, one on each side, and we'll get this in our book together. Here we go. So here is your hinge for the back. It's next to the spine. I'm going to come in probably about 1/4 inch from that. Try to match it up with my other page here. So that looks pretty good, stickles. So I'm just going to do some detail work like I have been. And I'll show you what mine looks like when I'm done. Okay, with this glare coming in, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it very well. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. It was a lot of fun, and we have some good spacing in between there, a lot of places to put our photographs. Happy crafting, everyone, and I will see you on my next tutorial.